chance to get him into Parliament, or to see him connected with some of the great men of the day. Miss John Dashwood wished it likewise, but in the meanwhile, till one of the super blessed could be attained, it would have quitted her ambition to see him driving a Baruchu, Baruche. I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm assuming some type of buggy or something back in the olden days that drives. Something expensive, maybe? I don't know. But Edward had no turn for great men or barouches. All his wishes centered in domestic comforts and the quiet of private life. Fortunately, he had a younger brother who was more promising. Edward had been staying several weeks in the house since the engagement of Mrs. Dashwood attention, for she was at that time in such affliction and rendered her careless of surrounding objects. She saw only he was quiet and unobtrusive, and she liked him for it. He had not disturbed the wretchedness of her mind by ill-timed conversations. She was first called to observe and approve his father by reflection which Eleanor chanced one day to make on the difference between him and his sister. It was a contrast which recommended him more forcibly to her mother. It is enough, she said, to say that it is unlike Fanny is enough. It implies everything amiable. I love him already. I think you will like him, said Eleanor. When will you know more of him? Like him, replied her mother with a smile. I feel no sentiment of appropriation inferior of love. You may esteem him. I have never yet known what it is to separate esteem and love. Miss Dashwood now took pains to get acquainted with him. Her manners were attached and soon banished her reserve. She speedily comprehended all of his merits, and persuasion of his regard for Eleanor perhaps assisted her penetration. Sorry. She speedily comprehended all of his merits. The persuasion of his regarding for Eleanor's perhaps assistant. I don't know what this is trying to say, but it says something about penetration. And I stopped on the word because I was like, no, penetration isn't right. It is the word. That is the word. She speedily comprehended all of his merits. The persuasion of his regard for Eleanor's perhaps assisted her penetration, but she really felt assured of his worth, and even that quietness of manner which milited against all of her established ideas of what young man's address ought to be, was no longer uninteresting. When she knew his heart to be warm and his temper affectionate. What the fuck is it trying to say by when it says Eleanor perhaps assisted her penetration? Does anyone know? I have no idea. This would be the part where I Google. However, I'm on live, so I'm not going to Google. Thank you for the hand hearts, love. Thank you. Hand hearts. David, you have to know what it means. I think I just have too much of a dirty mind to think back in the olden days what that would possibly mean. Is it meaning what I'm thinking it meaning? I think I know what it means, but I don't think that's what it means. Like, I think my brain is telling me it means one thing, but I think I'm wrong. Thank you for the follows, guys. Thank you, thank you. It means what I think. Okay, so Eleanor perhaps assisted her penetration. Lovely. Lovely. I wasn't expecting it, and then I read and I was like, that's not the word I think it is, and I stopped and I looked at it, and I was like, no, that's the word. So I read back, because I was like, maybe I fucked up somewhere. But no, it means what I think it means. Lovely. No sooner did she perceive any symptoms of love in his behavior to Eleanor than she considered their serious attachment as certain, and looked forward to their marriage as rapidly approaching. I would hope it's rapidly approaching if there's penetration involved. Back in the olden days, at least, you know what I mean? I would hope they're doing something. In a few months, my dear Marianne, she said, Eleanor, in all probability, will be settled for life. We shall miss her, but she will be happy. Is it not what I mean? Is it not what David, you're fucking with me. I'm gonna have to Google that when I get off of here. Why can't I pronounce her? Marianne. Do you disapprove of your sister's choice? Perhaps, said why do I want to call her Melaine? Marina. Perhaps, said Marina. Why, I almost called her Melaine again. If I say Melaine, it just means Marina. Perhaps, said Marina. I may consider it with some surprise. Edward is very admirable, and I love him tenderly. I hate that word, tenderly. But yet he is not the kind of young man. There is something wanting. His figure is not striking. It has none of that grace which I should expect from a man who could seriously attach my sister. His eyes want all that spirit, that fire, which at once announce virtue and intelligence. And besides all this, I am afraid, Mama, he has no real estate. Music seems scarcely to attract him, and though he admires Eleanor's drawings very much, it is not the admiration of a person who can understand their worth. It is evident, in spite of the frequent attention to her while she draws, that in fact he knows nothing of the matter. He admires a lover, not as a connoisseur. To satisfy me, those characters must be united. I cannot be happy with a man whose taste did not in every point coincide with my own. He must enter into all my feelings, the same books, the same music, must charm us both. Oh, Mama, how spiritless, how tame was Edward's manner in the reading to us last night. I feel for my sister most severely, yet she bore it with such composure. She seemed sincerely to notice it. Oh, she seemed scared